The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Untitled Fantasy. You can sign up with the promo code MLBSGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer up to bonus cash on Untitled Fantasy promo code MLBSGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your setting free trial today by going to sportscampus.com. Rhythm, sportscampus.com/RITHMM. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It is currently Sunday afternoon, roughly 5 p.m. Eastern Time on August 11th. I'm your host of this episode, Scott Reichel, once again joined by Lonte Smith. And together, we're going to break down the Monday card. Lonte, how's it going with you? How was your weekend, either from baseball or just every other sport involved?
Overall, decent weekend, man. Today wasn't as good as I thought. I didn't really like a lot today. A lot of coin flip games. The Yankees barely got there. I had them like minus 145. Had the Padres parlayed with somebody, I can't remember, but they lost. Oh, I had them. Ironically, I had them parlayed with the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays got absolutely killed. And I swore off that team, but I figured I needed another link, kind of a short.
I'm still sworn off that team. The only time I've backed Toronto in the last 3 months was when they were against Rodon. I took their first 5 team total over one time. That was it. The only time I backed Toronto.
Yeah, that's fair. And I didn't really want to. It's just kind of I needed something. I thought the Padres were a shoe-in to kind of, with Cease on the mound. I thought they were shoe-in to beat the Marlins. I needed something.
I had the first 5. Cease got killed.
Fair. Yeah. So yeah, outside of those two, man, I thought we had a good day on the show for Saturday, like the Friday show for Saturday. I thought we did pretty good. I split on the lock and dog. You get your home run prop. So overall, pretty good weekend, man. Pretty good weekend.
Yeah, so for my lock on the Saturday card, I had the under in the Mariners game. Looked ugly early as Manaea got killed in the first inning. And then you had nothing basically the rest of the game. It was 4-0, so nice, easy under there. Lost the dog, though. Tried to fade Cleveland. Ended up having the Twins minus 1.5. That didn't get there as they lost 2-1. But Jackson Merrill did a home run, and it came in late against the bullpen, but he got there. That was around plus 675. So definitely a nice home run pick there. Not sure if that's the record for the show. I'm assuming Jamie Westbrook probably has a run for his money against me because I know that Mal called him one time, and I'm sure Westbrook's number was pretty high. But yeah, 675 for Merrill, can't complain. So overall, good episode for me. And I know that you hit the lock. Forgot what you had for the lock, but
I had the Dodgers.
You hit it.
Yeah, small dog. Yeah, small dog.
Okay, either way, though. You picked Skeens to lose, and he ended up getting killed as the Dodgers won comfortably. So overall, nice overall weekend for us on the show. For the Sunday card, just briefly looking at the actual matchups here, yeah, Boston should probably never pitch to Jordan Alvarez ever again. Just a thought. He killed that team again, homered again on Sunday. Yankees barely held on to win. Holmes threw about, 80 pitches in the 9th inning. But he got the job done as they won 8-7. Oakland beat Toronto. Tampa did come back and beat Baltimore. So the Yankees are now tied with Baltimore again for first place in the AL East. You ended up seeing the Padres winning streak get snapped. The Reds beat the Brewers. And you have a couple games going on right now, which are still pretty early on, and a lot of games that are very close. So either way, time to move on into the card for Monday. Before we get into any of the actual matchups, though, do want to have once again more picks on the other network shows that we have. And you also have the Sports Gambling Podcast, which is the featured show for the network this week. And you are looking at their series that they're running, and it is the 32 NFL Team Preview Series. It's preseason. We all got football fever, and they have you covered there if you are looking for some overall season-long bets, some futures, etc. As a bonus, though, each episode does contain a code word, and if you submit the 32 code word phrase, you could be the lucky winner who wins a $500 NFL Circle future bet. Subscribe to get your podcast, and a reminder to download the SGPN app. So time to get into the actual card for Monday. Starting off with the first game, you have the Cubs taking on the Guardians. The Guardians, I saw, were currently leading in the 9th inning. The Twins did have the tying run on base. But they have the bases loaded right now with no outs. So I'm not sure if they're going to win this game or not. A lot of drama. We'll see what happens as that game unfolds. Either way, the Cubs did end up sweeping the White Sox. Wasn't pretty, but they got the job done in that one. For this one, you have the Cubs minus 115, and you have the Guardians at minus 105. For the pitchers, you have Imanaga going up against Lively. For the over-under in this game, you have around 8.5 or 8. So, long time I'm going to ask you, Cleveland wasn't really bad form. They won the game on Saturday, barely. And now they might be blowing this game on Sunday. But they've still not been very good, and the Cubs have not been great either. But they've been better lately, and they were able to sweep the White Sox. I understand that you were against a Double-A team. Still got to play the games, and they ended up sweeping. So I'll ask you for this one, for the sake of this matchup, do you want to take the Cubs, or do you want to back the Guardians at home?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Guardians at home. I think it's a good buy low spot for them. Although Chicago has been playing some really good baseball, like you mentioned, 8-2 in the last 10. Cleveland's last 3 series has been pretty brutal. I mean, Baltimore, Minnesota, and Arizona, last 3 series. Obviously, I think even though the Cubs are playing well, this is a step down as far as offense. Cleveland hits lefties pretty well. Almost 250, 5.2 runs per 9. Imanaga's been really good. 5-0 in his last 5, 2.72 ERA. He has given up the long ball. He's got a home run allowed in 4 straight starts, so maybe Cleveland can kind of get to him early and get some early runs. Lively, looking to bounce back. He had a rough start, 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5, though. He pitched against elite offenses, though: Philadelphia, San Diego, Arizona, Baltimore, all in a row. So I think this Cubs, even though they're playing well, I think this is a step down in class. I like Cleveland at home to kind of get a bounce back series.
So I think I'm going to disagree. I think I am going to go with the Cubs here for a couple reasons. One, I do like how the offense is played. They were struggling a bit against Flexen. They had a bunch of guys on base, and they ended up not converting any of them, but they converted against the White Sox bullpen because everybody has. I'm sure we could have if we had a couple of bats against the bullpen against the White Sox. But Guardians, by the way, just won a forced double play in the 9th inning with the bases loaded. Clase did throw 20 pitches today, so I'm not sure if he's going to be available for tomorrow. Yeah. So I wanted to mention that because we know he's the best closer in the league. Point is, though, I do think for this matchup, I am going to lean to Chicago. They've been playing well recently. Offensively, they've been good. Cleveland, we know, still can't really hit. Did a good job winning the last 2 games of that series against the Twins to kind of extend their lead in the AL Central. But I'm really wondering if Clase is going to pitch because I believe he also had to pitch on Saturday because the Twins lost 2-1. So I think Clase pitched back-to-back days. So it might not be available, something to keep in mind. So I do think that the Cubs have some value, assuming Clase might be on the shelf for this game. So I'm going to go with Chicago. Imanaga's been great. Lively's been kind of vulnerable recently, and I like how the Cubs have played. So I'll go with the Cubs in this one. I think it's a pretty cheap number overall. I'll go with the Cubs in this one. Moving on to the next game, you have a matchup between 2 teams that are kind of heading opposite directions. The Cardinals are still fighting for a playoff spot. They've not been great recently, though. The Reds are 4 under. They're hanging around, but still not that good. They're winning right now. We'll see if they can close it out against Milwaukee, or did they already win? They already beat Milwaukee today, actually, 4-3. So for this one, you have Gray pitching against Abbott, and the money line is currently Cardinals minus 130. The Reds are about plus 110. For the over-under in this game, you have around 9 as the total. So Gray was really bad about a month ago. And recently, he's kind of righted the ship. Looking at the last couple starts, he has allowed 2 runs in each of his last 2 starts. So 14 innings, 4 runs allowed. So pretty solid back-to-back starts after struggling against the Nationals and the Braves in the 2 previous starts. For the Reds, you have Abbott pitching, who's been one of the better pitchers for this staff. Of course, Hunter Green's been the best pitcher based on the last couple months. But Abbott going through the last couple outings has been roughed up a bit. His last 3 starts, he's allowed 12 runs, and he has given up a lot of contact. And he's also given up 6 home runs in his last 3 starts. So I do think the Reds are fadeable here, just based on the Reds also losing each of Abbott's last 4 starts by multiple runs. So I think I'm going to lean to Gray here. Abbott has not been good, and I'm willing to fade him. Cardinals, I know, have not been playing great baseball. Neither is Cincinnati, so that kind of cancels out. But Abbott has been getting kind of torched recently. I know the Cardinals are not very good against lefties. I'm aware that's an issue, but I have to at least acknowledge the home run numbers that Abbott's been allowing recently is concerning. Gray's kind of bounced back, and he has kind of regained some of that form that he had earlier this season. It's good enough for me. I think this number's pretty cheap. Give me the Cardinals first 5, maybe minus half a run, but I do think that Abbott might give up some damage here, and if Gray can keep his old team in check, I think he'll do enough to get the job done.
Yeah, I like the over. I think both pitching rotations ERA above 5 right now in the last 10. Both teams you mentioned that are really, kind of middle and 4 and 6 last 10. St. Louis is actually over in 6 of the last 10. 8 of the last 10 is over for Cincinnati. I mean, I don't disagree with the thoughts about Gray. He has righted the ship a little bit, 4 earned runs in his last 2. He had 10 combined in the 2 prior, but he has struggled on the road, 4+ earned runs in 5 of his last 7 road starts. The thing that I do like about him is you won't have to rely on the bullpen a ton because he goes deeper into games. He's pitched 7+ innings in 7 of his last 10 games. And while Abbott hasn't been sharp, he has faced his team twice, 1 good start, 1 bad start. The home run it is kind of concerning, but like you mentioned, St. Louis doesn't hit lefties that well. Abbott hasn't got out of the 5th inning in 3 of his last 4 starts. In that span, has a 5.38 ERA. So that's kind of concerning. But at home, I think they can get it done. But I like the over here. I think we see some runs scored by both sides. I think we can see maybe 11 or 12 runs. So I like the over the most. Lean with the home dog.
I think I'm going to agree with you about the over. It is a bit juiced to the under right now at 9. I was kind of hoping there'd be an 8.5 at some point. Probably not going to happen. I think I'm in a line to agree with you about the over, just based on Gray's road numbers and based on Abbott being that bad recently. I think you're looking at a spot where this game could feature a lot of runs, so I think I'm going to agree with you. Hopefully the Cardinals offense shows up against the lefty for once, but it is a pretty good spot for them, so we'll see what happens. But either way, point is, do think that the Cardinals have some value, mostly just fading the recent form of Abbott. So either way, moving on to the next game, we'll get a matchup between... where do I want to go next? Okay, so for this one, we're going to go with the Astros taking on the Rays. For this one, you have Valdez taking on Bradley. The Astros are minus 115. Rays are about minus 105. And for the over-under in this game, you have around 7 or 7.5. So we saw Houston kind of get it going offensively against the Red Sox the last 2 days, as we saw Jordan go crazy against the Red Sox. As for the Rays, they were... how'd they do this weekend?
They did pretty good.
They beat Baltimore in the finale. I think they still lost the series, but they were feisty. Still can't really score, but they were able to hang in there for at least one game in the series. They did lose 2 out of 3, though. So for this one, I understand Bradley's got a lot of upside, and I get that he's a very solid young pitcher. He's been really bad his last 2 starts. Struggled against the Cardinals, was not very good against Miami, and Valdez was fresh off of a no-hitter for 8 2/3 before Seager killed it. But Valdez has been great recently, and Bradley's been struggling. Not to mention Houston's been in good form recently, and Tampa still can't really hit. This line feels very cheap to me. I'm going to take Houston. I don't really understand why this line is minus 115. You're looking at Houston's results with Valdez pitching. Houston has actually won each of Valdez's last 8 starts, and it's minus 115? Give me Houston. I don't get why this is minus 115. I thought at first glance this would probably be like minus 130, minus 140. 115. Yeah, I'll take that. I think Bradley's overvalued here.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean the other way. I like Tampa. Tampa actually, won the series 2-1 in the head-to-head last week in Houston. All 3 of those games did go under, so I'm leaning under as well. This is a 3rd straight road series for Houston. And if you look at Bradley, I mean, yeah, he has struggled in his last.
He's good. I'm aware he's good. He's been bad his last 2 outings.
Yeah, 9 runs in his last 9 2/3. But prior to that, he had 20 scoreless innings. He's been pretty impressive on a 2.5-month stretch. 2 earned runs or less in 6 of his last 7 home starts, 4 shutouts in that span. This is a tougher offense that he'll have to face. But I think he can maintain, and if he can get to the bullpen, I mean, Tampa's bullpen has been elite the last 10. I mean, ERA under 1.7. The starters have been struggling, which their ERA is over 6. And, Framberg's been, really good. 6-2 in his last 8, 2.81 ERA, 10-plus Ks in 3 of his last 5. So I think you can kind of pivot to a K prop for Houston. Tampa is struggling to score, but I think Bradley can kind of not shut down, but kind of give that Houston offense a little bit more, settle them down a little bit more, maybe 2 runs, 3 runs. That might be enough, actually, if Houston can score 2 or 3 runs.
That's the problem I was going to say for you. That might be an issue.
Yeah, so I'm banking on Bradley to maybe kind of keep it within 1 run, and maybe they can win a low-scoring affair at 3-1. So the more that I'm thinking about it, maybe I like Tampa early rather than late. But I'll probably just split a unit, half unit, first 5, half unit full game. So I like Tampa here.
So I do have a bit of a fun joke for you. So Tampa their active batters have faced Valdez a combined 34 times. Do you want to guess what Tampa's on-base percentage is against Valdez?
Against Valdez, I'm guessing it's got to be low if you're asking.
Do you want to guess?
320.
Okay. First of all, that's not that low. Second of all, no. The answer is 514.
Oh, okay.
It's the exact opposite. Tampa, has absolutely killed Valdez. I don't know why. Tampa's active batters have a casual 414 batting average and a 514 on base percentage against Valdez. I don't know why that's the case, but maybe that's why the line's so cheap. But historically speaking, Tampa's actually kind of owned Valdez. So maybe that's why the line is pretty cheap. But I got to go with the current form. I'm not going to shy away from it, but I am at least going to mention it. I was shocked. when I realized that. So I wanted to mention it. Tampa randomly has very good numbers historically against Valdez, so keep that in mind. Still don't trust the offense, but I guess Valdez just constantly struggles in the Trop. So we'll see what happens. Before we get into any of the other games on the card, do want to remind you once again that we're brought to you by McFantasy because they now have a new feature, which is their, they actually have their own streak going that if you go 8-0, you can win 325 times your entry. And a reminder that you can play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball Mania. Best Ball Mania is now live with $15 in prizes. And Rug also just launched their season-long college football projections, higher or lower on your favorite college football players. You can now use specials and boosts on all your flex entries. Hopefully you enjoyed the Olympics. Unfortunately, though, that ended. So now you're back to doing baseball, tennis, any other summer sport you want. Are we officially at the point where it's basically baseball and nothing else? Because you got preseason football, but you have what, like 3 weeks left of just baseball, basically?
I think like 2.5, to be honest.
2.5, give or take? Yeah, but you can get football over the next couple weeks. Point is, though, sign up with the promo code MLB SGPN to claim your special and first-time deposit offer. Up to bonus cash on fantasy promo code MLB SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Just finished previewing the first couple games for Monday. Time to keep it rolling. Just finished with the Astros and Rays game. Time for the Rangers and Red Sox game. So for this one, you have Molly pitching against Bayo. The Red Sox are minus 145. The Rangers, that big comeback for the Yankees was all for nothing, as they ended up losing the series anyway. But they are plus 120. For the over-under in this game, you have 9.5 or 10. Molly's barely pitched this season, but he was actually pretty good in, I believe, his lone outing of the season, as he went 5 innings, gave up 1 run against the Astros. Coincidentally, I believe that was the no-hitter game for Valdez, so he had no chance. But then eventually, of course, the Rangers did score, but not enough as they lost 4-2. Bayo, though, is an ERA over 5, but he's 10-5. So he's been solid, but he was on paternity leave, so I'm assuming he's going to be back for Monday, but we'll see if anything changes. He was officially placed on paternity leave on Friday, so he should be back. Maybe he has new dad strength. We'll see what happens, but recently, he's been average. He's given up less than 4 runs in 5 straight. The issue is he constantly gives up 3 runs in basically 5 innings of work. So you're expecting him to probably give up 3 runs in 5 innings, if I had to guess a stat line for him. Molly's been fine. The Rangers suck, but they look decent the last couple games against the Yankees. So Boston, we saw, get shelled by Houston. We'll see if they can bounce back against a weaker opponent here in this upcoming series. I think I'm going to lean to Texas, though. I thought Molly actually looked decent, and I think Bayo can struggle. So I'll back Texas, whose offense kind of got going there in the last couple games against the Yankees. But I could see runs here, and the Red Sox are 4 under at home. I know the Rangers are a bad road team, but the point is at Fenway, the Red Sox have not been that great recently. I'll go with the Rangers at plus money. You?
Yeah, I'm leaning to the over. I have a hard time betting either of these teams. Boston, we know their offense is going to get going. The pitching is just hasn't got going at all. Bayo has kind of been like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he start off the season like pitching really, really well, and then he kind of tailed off? So he's kind of hard to trust.
His record was always really good. I believe his ERA was always hovering around 5. I think.
Right, and that's I can understand it. He does have one of the higher hit rates in the MLB. So yeah, I'm gonna lean over. I mean, I could just trust the offense to kind of get things going. Texas, I mean, they've been really bad, like you mentioned, as of late. They had that furious comeback, short travel, not much travel from New York to Boston. So I don't buy a lot into that. So I think we can see some runs here, man. I'm going over. I might take a Boston team total over for more to be like for a little bit more, but I think we see some runs here.
Yeah, I think that once again, Bayo and Molly might struggle here. I agree with the over, but I think the Rangers offense might be undervalued here in the spot. Moving on to the next game, though, you have the Royals taking on the Twins. So we saw the Royals have a pretty solid showing yesterday against the Cardinals. I know they won the series. Did they sweep? I know they didn't play today. But I'm trying to remember if they actually swept the series or not. Point is, though, we know the Royals are really good at home, and they're not very good on the road. That's kind of a common theme. They are 1 under on the road. Quickly just pulling up what happened in that series against the Cardinals. They split. That's what I thought happened. Wasn't sure. But they won the finale, and they did not play on Sunday, so they do have an off day. Twins, though, had to burn basically the entire bullpen on Sunday because Nesta went no length, and they had to burn everybody. So you have Singer against Lopez. The Twins are minus 155. The Royals are plus 130. You're looking at the over-under in this game being around 8 or 7.5. Now, Singer was in great form. I know he kind of struggled against Boston, and we'll see how he does in this one. But against Boston, he gave up 10 hits, 4 runs. Against the White Sox, 7 innings, 3 runs. Previous 2 starts, no runs at all. So he's been better at home than on the road. Has not been awful, though, with 3.86 ERA on the road. Lopez, we know, can be a psychopath, and he kind of has been for the entire season. I like Kansas City here. I think 155 is a massive line. Give me Kansas City plus 130. The Twins burned a lot of the bullpen on Sunday. They lost the last 2 games. Kansas City's been playing well, and these teams are separated by half a game. So they're actually very close in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with Kansas City. I think Singer is arguably better than Lopez, at least based on ERA. He's definitely been better. Lopez has an ERA in the mid to high 4s, and Singer's is about 3 flat. Give me Kansas City plus 130. I really don't agree with this money line price.
Yeah, I lean that way as well, but I like the over even more. Is it still at 8? Should be reduced to 8?
Totals
like
around 8 or 7.5.
Yeah, I love it. At 7.5, you can find a 7.5. I love that over. Just looking at the offense from Minnesota, the last 10 versus righties. I mean, they're hitting above 280, 7.4 runs per 9. If you look at Kansas City in the last 10, just overall, they're hitting over 280, 6.5 runs per 9 on 10 hits. Lopez, we know, like you mentioned, a bit erratic. He hasn't pitched at home since 7/20, and he was shelled in 2 of his last 3 home starts. So, I mean, Kansas City's offense travels. Singer, 7 earned runs allowed in his last 2. He was coming off 14 scoreless prior to that. The thing is, with Kansas City's bullpen, they don't have to pitch a long time because Singer usually
goes
goes
like 6 or 7.
Yeah, he's been 7. He's been in 7 innings in 5 of his last 8 starts, so I'm not worried about that. Lopez, I think, might have to just wear it if he's bad or if he struggles early on because of that bullpen, like you mentioned. So I'm going to lean to Kansas City on the money line at the plus price, but I like the over. If you can find a 7.5, that'll be probably one of my favorite bets on the card.
Yeah, I see Gio saying that 7.5 is minus 118 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I love that. Yep, love that.
I don't mind the over too. Thought about maybe Kansas City team total over. I like that quite a bit, especially with this money line price. You might be getting like a first 5 line, maybe even 1.5. But Lopez for team total, but Lopez has been fine. Was not great last start against Chicago, and he's been fine besides that. But I still don't really
look at his last 3 home starts. Terrible.
Yeah, he's been a mess. So I think Kansas City has value here, and I'm going to go with that. Don't mind the first 5 team total over, though, at probably 1.5. Moving on to the next game, you have the Dodgers taking on the Brewers. Dodgers are in good shape right now. I saw McCutchen homered, but I believe the Dodgers are still winning, and the Brewers did lose the finale against the Reds. Dodgers are up 4-2 right now in the 5th inning. So for this one, you have a pitching matchup between Kershaw and Peralta. For this one, you have the money line price of minus 110 apiece. For the over-under in this one, you have the line being set at around 8 or 8.5. Kershaw's come back. He's not been very good. 0-2, 4.38 ERA. Peralta's also been a head case this season, so not sure what to expect from him. Dodgers, I think, are the better team, but of course we know that the Dodgers have not been in great form recently. They've been picking it up, though, over the last couple days. So Peralta, to go through the numbers, he has given up at least 3 runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. So he has been vulnerable, and we'll see how he does here. Kershaw, though, has really not been good. I think I'm going to lean over in this game. I have a hard time separating these teams. I think minus 110 is actually correct. I don't really trust either pitcher, and both teams are kind of in the same form right now. Dodgers have more upside, obviously, based on the talent. But I guess I'll lean to the Brewers at home, but I really don't want to play the side. I'll lean to the over. I don't trust Peralta or Kershaw.
Yeah, I like the over. 2 of the 3 meetings in July went over. The Dodgers took 2 of 3 of those. Did Milwaukee win today?
Milwaukee lost 4-3. They won the previous game 1-0, but they lost today 4-3.
Yeah, so prior to that, they were on a 5-game winning streak. They had scored 43 runs in that span. Both of these teams are over in 7 of the last 10. The offense of the Dodgers up and down, but I think I trust them a little bit more than I do what Milwaukee's been doing as of late. Both pitchers erratic. Milwaukee's a little bit better versus lefties than the average team. I just don't trust Peralta. I mean, he's been inconsistent. 5 home runs in his last 3 starts, 11 walks in his last 4. I think the Dodgers might be able to get to him. And Kershaw, I mean, he got roughed up versus San Diego. San Diego's offense has been, roughing up everybody. And
he was fine against Philly, but then he kind of leaked oil and he fell apart down the stretch.
Right, yeah. So and only got credited for 3 earned runs, and he gave up 7. He gave up 7 runs, but 3 earned. So, that was a little bit misleading as well. But he did that start versus San Diego did come on the road, and he is on the road here. So I'll lean to the Dodgers. I just don't trust Peralta at all. But I like the over even more. I think both teams will be able to score some runs off the erratic pitching that we see.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, though, you have the Yankees taking on the White Sox. We actually have a line on this without having a pitcher for the Yankees. So undecided pitching for the Yankees, and you have Bush pitching for the White Sox, 0-1, 6.75 ERA. White Sox now are awful. However, they did not play on Sunday, so their bullpen is rested. Still sucks, but it's rested, so that counts for something, I guess. Over-unders around 8.5 or 9. The Yankees are minus 290. So the question is, do you want to take the run line or do you want to back the White Sox? The Yankees have been up and down recently, struggled against the Angels, and they were able to win the series against the Rangers. Truth is, the doubleheaders kind of killed them because they had to use a couple of makeshift starters. Warren got destroyed. We know Cortez sucks. Yankees minus 1.5, though, is like minus 170. So I guess I'm just going to ask you, do you have any interest in betting this game at all? Or would you rather hope the Yankees don't score in the first inning and maybe take a run line of like minus 140?
Yeah, 0. If you want to bet anything, I would bet like the Yankees reverse run line, like 2.5, 3.5. They destroyed them earlier in the season. I think 17-5 was the margin that they won. 2 of those 3 they won by 3+ runs. So if you want to just lay 2.5, I would probably just lay that. No need to spend any time on this game at all.
Yeah, once again, I'm trying to figure out an angle that I can go with. I'm not even sure who the Yankees are going to pitch. I don't know. I really thought about it, but they sent Warren down. I don't know who's projected to go because they've had a bunch of doubleheaders. So I really don't know who's supposed to go. So interesting spot where the Yankees might have to call up somebody to maybe start, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I don't know exactly who's going to go for the Yankees. Bush has been bad, though. I mean, the Yankees team total is going to be massive in this game. So I don't know where you can find value. So I don't really have an interest in this game. Maybe if you want to go for the Yankees to, once again, just score a bunch of runs against the bullpen, you can live bet it, but I don't have much in this game. I'm going to ask you for the White Sox, though, since they ended up getting swept by the Cubs. I think I saw a stat. I forgot what the exact number was, but I want to know if this is actually true, because they put it on Fox, and it sounds fake. I have to ask you. The White Sox so far this season, the White Sox, when trailing after 6 or 7 innings, I think it was after 7 innings. You know how many times they've won the season trailing after 7?
Trailing after 7.
Think of how many losses they have, though. Think of the amount of times they've been down going into the 8th inning. Do you know how many times they've won in a comeback role down after the 7th inning? I
don't at all.
Do you want to guess the number?
I don't even know. I don't even know where you would put that at. How many losses do they have? Let's start there. How many losses do they have?
The White Sox have 91 losses. They've won 28 games. So out of those 28 wins, how many of them have come with them trailing after the 7th inning?
7.
The answer is 0.
Damn.
They have never come back.
Wow.
They are 0 and I think like 70-something when trailing after the 7th inning. They've never won a game, which I thought was impossible. But I saw that on Fox yesterday, and I have to mention it. It might have been after 6 innings, but I think it was also 7. They've never come back. So that kind of sums up why this is the worst team I've ever seen play the sport. Anyway, I see a question, by the way, from Gio, unrelated, about some research for NFL. I believe SGPN prepared something for that. Check out Sean and Ryan. I believe they prepared something for the NFL moves. So keep that in mind. But the point is, I wanted to at least mention the White Sox thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have 0 comeback wins basically the entire season after 7 innings. So either way, moving on to the next game, you have the Blue Jays taking on the Angels. For this one, you have a matchup between Francis and Daniel. Yeah, blind over, I guess. For the money line, you have minus 110 with Toronto and minus 110 for the Angels. For the over-under in this game, you have the line set at 9.5 or 9. So for this matchup, we saw Toronto struggle in the last 2 games against the A's, and we know the Angels are not very good, just in general. And we're looking at them being off a win. We're able to beat the Nationals in the final game. Funnily enough, though, the Angels are only 2 games back of the Blue Jays. For nothing in terms of standing, but it's just funny to tell you how bad the Blue Jays have been. So Francis so far this season, 4-3, 5.44 ERA. Daniel, 1-3, 6.04 ERA. I know Toronto's offense wasn't great in the last couple games against Oakland, but I got to go with the over. These pitchers suck. The Angels offensively have been fine recently. When you're looking at a total, kind of a way that I like to divide totals, at least based on the breakdown in my head, if the total is going to be around 9 or if it's a whole number, the question is, do I think each team could get the 4 runs?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. I think each team can. So worst case scenario, you're looking at a push. I like the over here. I see runs. I think Daniel stinks, and I think that Francis stinks. Yeah, give me the over in this game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I don't think we need to go into too much detail. I do think the Angels have been a little bit feisty. They were okay, and Washington obviously, performed well against the Yankees, much to our dismay. But yeah, I think both of these pitches are pretty bad. High contact rate for both of them. Francis actually doesn't walk a lot of batters, which means he gives up a lot of contact. He had 7 Ks in his last start, so maybe you want to look at his K prop against the Angels. But I think this soars over. I think we see maybe like a 7-6 type of game.
Yeah. I think you're looking at a spot where that could potentially work out in. Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, the bullpens we know are terrible. The starters suck. You might be in a good spot for the potential over to get there pretty quickly into this game. Moving on to the next one. Looking at a match between the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. I believe I do not see a line for this one. Let me just quickly see if FanDuel did post something for this game. I actually
think because Quantrill was supposed to go, but he got put on IL.
Yeah, so looking at, I still can't believe Quantrill didn't get traded. The Diamondbacks, though, are minus 215. The Rockies are plus 180. This is on FanDuel. Over-under's 8.5. Yeah, for this one, I'm going to be pretty straightforward here. I think Fodd's actually good. Whether Quantrill pitches or not, Fodd's been pretty solid, and the Diamondbacks have been in great form. So we saw them look good against the Phillies. I think that they are in solid form. The 12 over, Rockies, we know, are awful on the road every year. They are 17-43 on the road. Give me the Diamondbacks minus 1.5. I actually like this team quite a bit.
Yeah, you were high on them coming in after the break. Yeah, I like the over as well, and also a little player prop. I like Brandon Pfaadt over his strikeouts. I mean, if you look at his K to walk ratio, 124 to 29 this year. He got an ERA of under 2.8 in his last 7. Colorado has a lot of swing and miss stuff. Arizona has just been hitting the ball crazy over the past few. They're hitting 281, 6 runs per 9. So if you want a team total over, I see Travis talking about that as well. So I like the team total over if you want to go full game over as well. And I'll lay the 1.5 as well.
Yep. Once again, I'm feeling pretty good about my Diamondbacks playoff ticket at like plus 170 that I gave out for the second half show. So hopefully they keep it rolling, but this team's been good. Nice to see the defending World Series runner-ups remember to play baseball for about 2 months. And Walker's been injured. So once again, props to them. Just getting by.
Yes,
moving on to the next game. I realized I forgot to delete one of the banners. I believe the last game is going to be the Braves against the Giants. For this one, you have the matchup between Sale and Snell, which is a phenomenal pitching matchup. This is a clear your schedule type pitching matchup because it should be a lot of fun and a lot of zeros. So the Braves are minus 115. Giants are minus 105. For the over-under in this game, you have 7. I even see a 6.5. So you might not get 7 for much longer. It is 7 minus 125 on the under. Giants right now are down 5-2, but they have been in good form recently. I know they won via walk-off on Saturday. Braves are actually winning a game for once. Congratulations. But they have not been very good over the weekend against the Rockies. The Braves have been really bad, though. We know that Snell's been amazing. Did give up some runs in his last start, but I believe still went 6 innings, 3 runs. So he was still solid. And Sale, we know, has been good, but not going much length recently compared to his numbers in the early part of the season. Braves, though, had lost, I believe, 6 in a row. Then they ended up winning against the Rockies yesterday. Now they're up again 7-2 in the 8th. So Atlanta's starting to get it together offensively. They have scored 5+ runs in 5 straight games. But Snell's been great. Sale's been great. I like the under. I see a classic like 3-2 pitchers duel here. I'm going to lean San Francisco because of their current form, and the Giants have been really good at home. Giants are 35-23 at home. Give me the under, and give me the Giants to find a way to win this game 3-2.
Yeah, man, I love the under here. I mean, first 5 under, full game under. If you find a 7, I would go under that. I'm guessing the first 5 number would be a little bit lower, so maybe like a 3.5, or
Probably.
yeah, maybe
it's
3.5.
Either 3.5 or a juiced 4. That's probably what you're looking at.
Yeah. So Snell, he's got 5 straight quality starts, 1.32 ERA in that span. He's got 18 scoreless innings pitched at home, so he's in good form. Sale's obviously in good form as well. If you look at the previous matchups, in July, all 3 of those games went under. San Francisco took 2 of 3. I think I told you on the last podcast I'm done with Atlanta, so it's going to be the Giants and under here for me.
It is pretty fitting, though. As soon as we all quit on Atlanta, they score 5+ runs in 5 straight games.
Yeah.
It's weird how that always works out.
Exactly.
Either way, though, that's going to wrap it up for the actual card for Monday. Now it's time for the Lock and Dog picks. But before that, I want to remind you once again that we are brought to you by Rhythm, because Rhythm does have a lot of great options for you for football season. They have college football and NFL models, which are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model, or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You can decide what stats matter to you, and Rhythm can build you a custom model around it, or just let Rhythm do all the work for you. Rhythm also has AI projections from MIT data scientists, and they also have you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Claim your future all the day by going to sportscampus.com, Rhythm, sportscampus.com, RTHMM. We're also brought to you by Circuit Survivor and Circuit Millions. Circuit Sports is back with Circuit Survivor and Circuit Millions. You win $16 million in guaranteed prizes. And you can also go to Las Vegas. They have an ultimate contest weekend, which is a great time to go. Hang out with Ryan and Sean and enjoy some of the involvements in the world of sportsbook from August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15, save you 15% off your hotel room for sign-up weekend. A reminder, sign up in person at Circuit Sports. We announced December 7th and use a proxy play for anywhere. We also have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com. That's proxy.footballcontest.com. Save $50 with the promo code SGP. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Just finished going through all the games for Monday. Now it's time for the Lock and Dog picks. Lonte, we both had our locks last episode. Let's keep it rolling. What is your lock for the Monday card?
Yeah, I'm going under that 7 that we just talked about. I mean, I think it's going to be a complete pitchers duel, like you mentioned. 3-2 might actually be too high. I think that it'll be a little bit of kind of like what we saw in the earlier meetings last month. I think we see maybe like a 2-1 type of game. Both teams struggling, probably going to play a little bit small ball, a lot of bunting, a lot of stealing bases. So I think we see under here. I'll go under the 7. Make sure you find a 7 and not a 6.5. There are plenty of 7s out there. So find a 7, go under in Atlanta versus San Francisco. I even like the first 5 under. I mean, obviously we don't have a total for that yet, but I'm assuming it'll be like 3.5. So if it's anything 3.5, 4 with significant juice, I mean, as long as it's not crazy, I go under that as well. So I'm going. That's going to be my lock. For the dog, I'm going to like one of the first games that we talked about on the card. I'm going with Cincinnati. I think it's a game we disagreed on, actually. I mean, I think that Cincinnati is going to have good showing at home. I think this is their first game home in a few series. So I don't really trust Gray on the road. I know, both teams have been struggling. So, I mean, I think Abbott is going to be in a little bit better form at home. He's got a familiarity with the team and with the St. Louis lineup. So I like Abbott to kind of keep things under control, and I think the Cincinnati offense can get to Gray a little bit early. So I like Cincinnati. That should be at like +110, +111, something like that.
Yeah, I also realized I prepared it properly, but I actually skipped the game. I thought that for some reason the Padres were playing the Pirates this weekend because they did earlier in the week. So I actually want to go back because we have a series we forgot about. So we actually have a matchup between the Pirates and the Pirates are taking on the Padres. I want to just quickly put that in. For this one, though, Musgrove's returning. You have Gonzalez taking on Musgrove. For this one, the Padres are massive favorites. Once again, apologies about the order, but I accidentally just forgot a series. So for this one, the Padres are -215. They're -162. The Pirates are +136. For the over-under in this game, you have the total at 8. So we know that the Pirates have not been good lately. We know that the Padres were in great form. They had won 7 straight, then lost on Sunday. Musgrove, though, has not pitched since May 26th.
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually am going to lean to the Pirates team total over in this game. I'm not going to trust Musgrove, who has not pitched in an eternity. So I'll go with the over in this game. I see runs. So I think that San Diego can keep the offense rolling. They've been great recently. Gonzalez got shelled by them a couple of days ago. And Gonzalez, I think, is in line to struggle again. The bullpen's awful. And once again, Musgrove might not go much length, and he's not pitching in a while. So I am going to go with the over in this game. But I am going to lean the Pittsburgh team total over. There might be some value on that.
I like the full game over. I mean, we saw, I think, 2 of the 3 games Scott over the total. Maybe a little bit of a revenge spot for Pittsburgh. So I mean, they might be a little bit up. They blew two of those 3 games. I think they were up, and the bullpen kind of got.
They did.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you can trust them outside of like first 5, and probably not with this pitching matchup as well. I mean, I think San Diego is, along with the team we just talked about in Arizona, 2 of the hottest teams in the major league. So I don't think you can fade them right now. It would be San Diego or nothing, but I do love the over, though.
Yeah, but anyway, to go back to the lock and dog pick, sorry about that. I just forgot about a game.
No, you good.
So you mentioned again your lock was the full game under 7.
Yeah, full game under 7. Yep, full game
under 7. And your dog is going to be the Reds at about +110. I want to see if there's a better line on that. The Reds' best line I see right now is +110.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
cool.
so for my lock, it's going to be one of the money lines. I got to figure out if it's going to be the Cubs or if it's going to be the Astros. I don't know why Tampa owns Valdez. I don't know why that's a thing, but I think I have to go with Houston at minus 115. Bradley's been very vulnerable recently, and I do think that Houston, who's won 5 straight, swept Boston and won the last 2 against Texas. Valdez has been phenomenal recently, and Houston, I believe, has won his last 8 starts. I like that matchup quite a bit. I think minus 115 is cheap. So looking at the actual price here, I see 115 is the cheapest line. Give me Houston on the money line as my lock. For my dog, what did I want to go with here? I thought about maybe actually going with Texas, but I don't know if I actually trust that enough. Are there any dogs that I actually like here? Give me Kansas City at plus 130. I don't trust Lopez enough. I think Kansas City offensively is good enough to do damage, and I think Singer, even though he's been worse on the road, still is an ERA of about 3.86 on the road, which is serviceable. But with Lopez struggling and with Singer, who I think's actually been underrated, I like Kansas City. I think they're in line for a good showing here. Minnesota lost the last 2 games at home against Cleveland. I think it's a good spot. Give me the Royals money line at plus 130. Now it's time for the actual home run picks for the show. Lonte, I'm going to let you go first. What is your home run pick for Monday?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, it's probably a little bit of a chalk. I'm going with Ellie De La Cruz at the top of the card. I mean, he's been tearing the cover off the ball all month. Like, he's been, if it's not a home run, he's got doubles, triples. But, like, he's just been hitting the ball all over the place. I think the struggles of Sonny Gray on the road will show up. So I'm going Ellie De La Cruz to hit a bomb tomorrow.
So for this one, I might go with a guy who has not hit a home run since July 26th, but it's actually in the same game. I'm going to go with Arenado against Abbott. I want to fade Abbott because Abbott's been giving up so many home runs. He's given up 6 home runs in his last 3 starts. And we both like the over in the game. We see a lot of runs. Now, Arenado's not had many home runs recently, but he has had at least 1 hit in, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his last 8 games. So he has been hitting the ball well, just not for power. But against Abbott, he's been very good historically, and I do think he's in line for a good performance here. But if you're looking at Abbott giving up so many home runs, Arenado in his career is currently, I'm trying to remember exact numbers. I'm pulling it up right now. So in his career, Arenado has had 11 at-bats against Abbott. 10 at-bats, 1 walk. So 11 plate appearances. He's 5 for 10 with 2 home runs. So he's been very good against Abbott lifetime, and I think he's in line for a good showing. Once again, you might get a nice, massive price here because he's not homered in multiple weeks. But I think he's in a good spot to potentially take Abbott deep. And you're looking at his numbers against lefties. Actually not as good as I thought they were going to be, but I'm going to go with the head-to-head angle here. I think that's going to pay some dividends. Give me Arenado, hit a home run at probably a decent price. Maybe after the Merrill home run, I'm kind of going for long shot bombs. But I think that there's going to be a good price on Arenado just based on his numbers against Abbott and Abbott's home run issues over the last couple of starts. That's going to wrap it up, though, for this episode. Lonte, anything you want to add before we officially end the show?
No, that's it, man. Good luck to everybody. Thanks to everybody who joined the chat. Good luck to everybody during the weekend tonight if you're into Sunday night baseball, whatever the case may be. But yeah, hopefully we can roll over. I think we had a good Saturday, especially with that almost plus 700 home run prop that you hit. So yeah, hopefully everybody tailed and we can get off to a good week this week.
Besides that, though, baseball, I don't know who's going to be back tomorrow. It's going to be somebody. I don't think it's going to be me, but it might be maybe Mal and Munaf, maybe. So. I don't know. But either way, check out the MLB show. A reminder that I will be back for tennis tonight. Going to have 2 episodes. Going to have one for Cincinnati and going to have one either tonight or tomorrow morning for the final in Montreal. So stay tuned for that if you like tennis. Until next time, though, find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio. Find me on Twitter at XXLonteXX. And until next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.